mother's child, it is the family's child. All the active elements in the family, whatever they can do for the child, they should get involved with it rather than disengaging from it.
I want our male partners to understand what a woman goes through during pregnancy, which we have discussed, and how best to support your partner.
Right. See, pregnancy is a change.
Yes.
Right? It is a physiological change. And it's going to be an emotional change. It is going to be a social change. For a lot of working women who want to see themselves working, it is an occupational change also. And change is never easy.
True.
Change always comes up with a challenge. And when you want to take that challenge, you have choices. So here, you don't have a choices to become non-pregnant once you are pregnant. You are pregnant, you accepted it, your family wants it and you want it. So you anyhow cannot reverse this process. So going cohesively together in this journey requires the fine-tuning. One of the easiest things that a male partner can do is understand the physical state and the physiological requirement, because these days, more than normal pregnancies, complicated pregnancies are coming up. When you want to take that challenge, you have late-aged mothers are also there. And there are some kind of difficulties that might come up. So one thing is understanding the physical state by visiting the doctor regularly along with this female. Secondly, developing an attitude of gentleness and kindness. Becoming a little generous when it comes to giving your emotional time and physical time to her, because her mobility is going to reduce over the months. It might not be realistic to think that you can take this female along with the baby house inside everywhere around. It might not be possible all the time. But making that space where the three of you can still sit together, because in reality, you've already become a family. The minute it was announced that the female is pregnant, you already have a family now.
Yes.
Secondly, developing an attitude of gentleness and kindness. Sitting together, talking, taking some nature time out, going some in some mutual activities where you can go for long walks, you can listen to some music, do some soothing exercises that might involve, simple hand, leg rubbing, simple massaging exercises. Those things are going to build that bond further. Yes. And the child can also sense it. So see, a relaxed mother, a calm mother will obviously pass on that ability onto the child as well. A lot of women want dependency. A lot of women want to be independent. So it can vary, and it can vary from culture to culture. It can vary from family to family as well. But what is the couple comfortable at? Fine-tuning that is very important. So involvement of the man becomes important in the female, because it's not just her child. It's not just her pregnancy. It is our pregnancy and our child.
Yes.
A lot of women want dependency. A lot of this. Safeguarding her from emotional drama, family drama, habits, for instance, consumption of alcohol, cigarettes, too much of caffeine, risk-taking tendencies, too much of extra medicines. All these habits are likely to be harmful. The need for sexual activity may be limited. So then adapting oneself to that also becomes important.
Very true.
And yeah. So the bonding, the physical bonding can still happen. So non-sexual ways of increasing your bonding is another thing which is there. Also, see, the female's body is going to evolve in order to house the child. So it's important that she is seen with the same beauty and respect that she was earlier as well. And questions around asymmetry, questions around when are you going to be losing all that weight, or what's going to be happening to you? Yes. When will you start doing this or that? Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? Instead of just that being a single-ended thing, you can help her feel more comfortable and be a part of the regular regime, which is going to be more inside the house. So combined activities of cooking, planning your meals and diet, planning some simple house activity that may be setting the house, shopping for the baby, setting and preparing the home, that is the nest, which is going to be for the upcoming baby, planning for the rituals, if that may be the case, helping her in shopping, helping her maintain her hygiene.
Yes.
All these things are things where help is required. And questions around asymmetry, questions around when I will, a lot of change will also be required on the part of the man in terms of his own habits, his own priorities, his, suppose, whatever is biologically possible for him, that is cooking, cleaning, washing, adapting to abrupt changes in time demands, because that's going to be common post-pregnancy. The child will not adapt to your office timings and home timings. So, you know, adapting to the duality of roles, taking it equally, becoming as competent father as is the competent mother. And a lot of change will also be required on the part of the man.
Said husbands need to be more generous with the patient's needs. Very important. And of that, you talked about the physical change that happens. Obviously, weight is going to get gained. How can a husband be more generous towards this kind of change?
Asking her what she needs, how much she needs, giving her that space when she's able to do it, not going into over dependence and over control. Definitely no criticism. Arranging for appropriate family help when he is absent, or alternative help or professional help. Everything is available these days. Also helping her, assisting her in regular doctor visits, lab visits. Not asking questions like, I hope you're eating well because you are taking care of my child. If you don't eat, the child will also not get food.
That's an insensitive comment.
Right. That's a very insensitive way. It's a very, it's sort of a jibe, which is very common in a lot of societies.
Yeah. What does it imply?
See, is just maybe the intent behind it is not all that bad, but the intent doesn't count if the language and behavior and the action doesn't account for it.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So even moderate amount of exercise may be important as well. So helping her, being with her, giving her that assistance and company will also feel her supported. Not saying things like, why are you always crying? Why are you always irritable? I have not seen other pregnant women going through all this. Why is it only happening with you? There may be times when the female may be really worried. See, worry and anxiety is a part of pregnancy, pretty much. It may be normalized. It is definitely there. But why do you have to rush to the hospital every time? Why do you keep disturbing me? These kind of things. Or things like, don't take stress, don't think too much, everything will be okay.
Yeah, that can be very triggering.
That can be very triggering. Obviously, since she's feeling the baby 24/7, she will be more concerned.
Yeah.
So it's important to help her out rather than saying it.
Yes.
Also helping her, assisting her in regular doctor visits, lab visits. Not asking questions like, I hope you're eating well. Because
so what's a better way to say it? Don't overthink, don't stress too much, versus what's a better way of saying
it? First, you need to listen. What is the concern about? If the female is worried about ending up, suppose she's having a specific medical condition, she's, bleeding. And she's having spots in the middle. She's been told that, no, it is, you need to be on the bed rest for the next 3-4 months or whatever it is. Now, see, her mobility goes down. Lying dormant on the bed, she doesn't have much to do. And thoughts are going to increase.
Yes, yes.
So now you will have to help her become more functional while inside being in the bed. So helping her read appropriate things, helping her listen, helping her, sort of calm herself despite being a little immobile, giving her more company, sitting, talking, telling, explaining, playing some simple board games with her, people around to give her some more company. Helping her support her functions, like for instance, she wants to learn something or develop something, it is possible through online modules. Helping her be able to do it, even if it is 1 or 2 hours in a day.
Yeah.
Help her out.
Yeah, and not just leave it to the mothers to educate herself about a mother, but being part of the process. So what's a better way to say it? Don't overthink, don't stress too much, versus what's a better way of saying
First,
it?
you need to listen. What is the concern about?
Yes, ma'am. So this is very important because a lot of the women who are pregnant, they go through fear and anxiety every day for 9 months. Even if in the second trimester is a happy phase, there will still be moments of anxiety. So for the husband to repeat that it's going to be all right, that he's there, he's listening, what she needs, that's going to sound very repetitive. And for a male's brain, there is a blockage there. But understanding that, how do we make them understand?
See, that's what I said. It's not one person's pregnancy, it is both. So then that divides responsibility for both. So
yes, ma'am. So this is very important because a lot of the
same thing is about the child. It is not child, it is the family's child. All the active elements in the family, whatever they can do for the child, they should get involved with it rather than disengaging from it. So disengagement and avoidance is going to increase problems. Comfortable engagement is going to help balance both the partners around it. How much ever is possible. And then see, I'll point one thing over here. It's not a vulnerability period entirely. The survival rates of infants have gone up in all these decades because of so much of technology, so much of different medicines, so much of specialization that the gynecologists and obs people are offering, so much of testing which is now available, so much of modern technology which is there in open. So everything is being done to support the female and to support the couple and to help them come out stronger through it. Only part now remains just to balance the mind.
Which is
and it's going to be a time-limited process. It's not an endless process.
Yes, yes.
So if you take it day by day, take it slowly, take it comfortably, it's anyhow going to complete. It's not going to be a lifetime of pregnancy.
Yeah. That's the good news. And the bad news is, not the bad news, but the reality is, nobody else can carry that burden of going through that journey, but they have to do it themselves. So supporting partner comes in different aspects. First is mentally, emotionally, physically, and then we have got sexually, and we
financially, in terms of time.
Yes.
In terms of boundary, like you exchange for help when you cannot offer the relational, you cannot share a relational boundary because you're busy in traveling or occupying yourself with work or etc. Then you diffuse that boundary so that an alternative other substitutes for your absence and gives that emotional support and helps the female. How independent she wants to be, how dependent she wants to be, how capable she is. All those things are something which may vary from a female to another.
So supporting partner comes in different aspects. I want to come back to one point that you made earlier, which is sexual support. Physically, for the woman, it might be difficult. Now, I've never been pregnant, so I don't know, but it might be difficult, especially in the last trimester, to have physical intimacy. For a lot of male partners, that will be an issue, and that has proved to be an issue. How do they deal this as a couple? How do male partners understand this?
See, if you want your child, you have to ensure the safety of the child. So, the sexual behaviors can be divided into two parts. See, one is coital activity, and the other is non-coital behaviors.
Yeah.
Right. So, in the intimacy promoting behaviors, the warmth promoting behaviors, the physical touch contact behaviors can still be around. It is just that the coital activity, which may be at hold, at the cost of having a safe delivered child, or at the cost of the physical condition of the mother. Suppose she's having a certain physical condition and she's told to abandon coital activity for a while, then that is in the best physical safety of the child and the mother and the family unit.
Yes. And
sometimes some problem occurs at delivery also, some complication is happening. At that point also, for a while, for 2 to 4 weeks, she may be barred from sexual activity. And that's in the best interest of healing.
And sometimes even if it's not a physical danger, women might just not want to have coital activities. In which case, it's very important for the husbands to understand that. Yes. I want to come back to one point that you made earlier, which is sexual support. Physically, for the woman, it might be difficult. Now, I've never been pregnant, so I don't know. But you talked about financial support. How?
For instance, helping her with certain things to engage herself, the required amount of clothes that she needs, the cleanliness, the hygiene, mental engagement techniques. Suppose there are things that can be bought to help her assist her mind more proactively, things that can be done to involve her emotionally. So like this couple that I was talking to you about, the only two doctors who were constantly involved in the care of the female were the gynec and the reproductive psychologist. No other doctor was involved. But obviously, the cost-bearing factor for the reproductive psychologist is what they had opted for because they did not want to take psychotropic medicines. So that is the amount of financial support. And you are eventually doing it to support a stronger mother. You don't want a mother who goes into depression while delivering a child. That's going to be carried forward
By the child.
It's going to be carried forward by the mother also.
Okay.
If she's depressed, how will she bond with the child? How will she care with the child? How will she be interested in intimacy and attachment behaviors with the child? So,
you talked about financial support. How?
For instance, hugging, cuddling, feeding, sleeping are very important, attachment behaviors, bonding behaviors between the mother and the infant, even later after the pregnancy. A depressed mother is incapable of involving herself into anything. She doesn't care for herself. How can she care for somebody else?
Very important.
Hugging, cuddling, feeding.
And this is very common, right? Common. So when a depressed mother and you've got a baby, it's more challenging. How does a husband support this kind of an environment?
Detect it, get help. That is very, very, very important because see, depressive disorders can be of many varieties. Some amount of blue is common. So immediately after birth till 2 weeks, there's a lot of physiological change and disturbances in sleep-wake rhythms, disturbances in the child's activity, feeding, establishing of routines. So it is normal for blues to happen. But if it becomes severe, then the mother is likely to become detached. She's likely to end up with crying spells, a lot of tiredness, a lot of irritability, mood swings, physical difficulties. And that is the point where help should be taken. She should be taken to the doctor and the doctor should be helping her with resolving these things and solving it. So around when you enter a treatment where you are dealing with any psychological issue, it is not one person entry. The family enters it. Because the family has to know how to prevent and reduce the depressive aspects also, environmental aspects of depression. How can they bolster her? It is customized from couple to couple and family to family.
Right. Now we've talked about how a male partner should support the wife when she's pregnant, when she's going through pregnancy. Please tell us what a husband goes through when the partner is pregnant.
Yeah, so that's a very interesting question. What men go through when the spouse is pregnant. See, there may be different answers to that, but the emotional maturity, the stability of personality, the amount of occupational importance and engagement, all of these factors would determine the state of the man's mind. For people who are fairly more emotionally mature, more stable personality-wise, it will be seen as an opportunity for extended growth. They would have prepared for it. They would be on looking for it. They would be more participatory, more involved, more proactive. They otherwise will be more avoidant, more neglectful, less concerned or involved in selective roles, which is also okay, as long as the family comes together to help the support for pregnancy and birthing and child rearing. So usually you will find when the man goes back, then there is a substitute. Somebody from the family would come to support the women, the birthing and the childcare experiences, which is also fine.
Now we've talked about how a male partner should support the wife when she's pregnant, when she's going through pregnancy. Please tell us, they go through, when their partner is pregnant, do they go through fear and anxiety as much as a woman? Or
yes, it is quite common. It is quite common.
What will happen to the wife? What will happen to the baby? And
Definitely.
financial burden lies more on the male's shoulder than the woman's shoulder.
Arrangement, last minute things,
Mm.
acutely something happens, emergency kind of survival, health crisis, managing those things. Just fall.
So the husband is leaning more towards those.
Yes.
So do they go through, when their partner is pregnant, do they go through fear and anxiety?